Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to today's meeting. Today's date is Wednesday, April 18th. I'd like to call the Environment, Natural Resources Policy and Finance Committee to order. Just a couple of things real quickly. We'll be doing a walkthrough on the bill today. We're not moving the bill in any way. Amendments need to be posted by this afternoon at 3 o'clock, I believe it is, to Amy by 3 o'clock, okay? And then Amy will post them after that. Representative Hornstein.
Just a question on that procedurally, because I know that in Representative Torkelson's committee, we had like, I think about 24 hours to prepare amendments. So I don't know, it seems like a pretty short timeline, and I don't know if there's a chance to extend that.
I don't anticipate that, no. I mean, if you have something special that you're working on, it's kind of in our committee rules and so forth. I know you're working on lots of special things.
I personally don't, but there may be others.
Representative Torkelson and I are roommates, and we do share ideas once in a while, but not this one.
Well, Representative Torkelson, Mr. Chair, Representative Torkelson has a good idea about giving about the 24-hour amendment preparation. So I just acknowledge that.
I take that to mean no comment. So, Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, you know, Representative Hornstein may not have anything right now, but after the walkthrough, he might have some ideas, and it may take a while to get those written. But seriously, you know, this delete all was posted sometime, I think you came down about 3:30 yesterday, or
Yeah, I don't recall.
Somewhere-
Sometime mid-afternoon.
sometime mid-afternoon. So, you know, I look in the audience, and we've got our lobbying community here, but not a lot of the, well, there's some staffers here from the agencies, but not a lot of the general public. And so I think this is the meeting where the public could testify, right, on the bill? Or do you take public testimony tomorrow?
No, we will take testimony today.
So we would be taking testimony today, but if the public is unaware, now I know that all these lobbyists in the room, it's their job to track stuff, but so 3 o'clock, 3:30 yesterday, and then 8:15 this morning, not a lot of time for the public, and then to get amendments at 3, and then we'll vote at 8:15 the next day. That there's not a lot of time for public participation. I don't know, Mr. Chair. I think it would be better if there was a little more time. I would ask formally to go to 6 o'clock rather than 3 to get amendments in. I know we have a short floor session today. I know we have members, and I'm sure you have members that are going to be in other committees marking up other bills, and if we could get a little time, I think that would be helpful.
Right, and I would say that's part of the reason why we're going to stay on schedule, because other members have schedules that have been set by other committees and so forth, and things are kind of rolling that way. The reality is that, you know, the bill has, the provisions that are in the bill largely have been already in committee. People have had public testimony, possibly in various multiple committees on some of the provisions. So, and everything has been on the listserv and so forth. So I don't think that we're plowing any new ground here in terms of the time schedules and so forth. So I'm comfortable with it, and I hope that you folks are too. So Representative Becker-Finn, and then Representative Clark-Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for clarification, do you need we need the amendments by 3 o'clock to Amy completed? I mean, is that even enough time for staff? I know some of the other committees I'm on, it's at least letting the CA know that it's coming and they're working on it, and that's been sufficient. Or do you need it actually at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, staff has been very accommodating to members and so forth to get things in. I'm comfortable with the timeline, and I'm sure that staff is going to be able to do things the way you want. We have some very, very capable people around here, as you know.
Okay, so it needs to be timestamped to Amy by 3 o'clock completed?
Please, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, Representative Clark-Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Hornstein's comment reminds me of we had a challenge in agricultural finance yesterday, and again it was where even less time, and I think it was kind of a confusing hearing. I had an amendment that we really needed clarification, and again the timelines were that was a case where we received the bill, we didn't even have the public hearing part of it, or like we are today. And anyway, the former civics teacher in me always bristles a little bit because these processes count because this is where we're writing the law, and this is where we try to do it well, and we wouldn't want any confusion in here tomorrow, would we?
No confusion, no. And if you do have something, okay, so if you do have something that's pressing and you are working on something, if you pick up the phone and give Amy a call, I'm sure that she can have a little flexibility. I know that she's worked with Representative Fisher in the past on issues similar, and, you know, we try to be accommodating. Anything else on this topic, members? Thank you. The coffee today is courtesy of, Brian, do you want to address this?
Mr. Chair, members, the coffee today is from one of my local radio stations, KBEC, KBE, K95.5. It's a local radio station that been doing very well. They have a number of different things they do, but one of the things they have is their own coffee. They roast it and grind it right there on site, and this is coffee comes from Guatemala, from a all-female co-op. And it's organic coffee, and they provided us with the coffee today. So I just wanted to thank them.
Yeah. Thank you, Representative Johnson. Apologize for the delay. And just a note in the minutes, Karen Johnson, Representative Karen Clark called. Man, oh man. Karen Johnson, Karen Clark, Clark Johnson, Ryan Johnson. Too many Clarks and Johnsons are in Karens around here. And she is excused. She called and gave us a heads up that she wouldn't be here, at least for the start. Okay, members. Nope, I haven't moved the minutes yet, so that's the next thing to do. So, minutes are before us for April 12th. I do want to point out that in the April 12th minutes, I did the recognition of the new gavel that's before us and all the committees, so that's in there. Representative Hansen, would you move the minutes, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I like that gavel, too.
Yeah.
I would move the minutes from the 12th.
Thank you. The minutes being presented. All those in favor of the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the minutes for the 12th of April are approved. Now, members, walk through on the bill. I've talked to staff, and what Mr. Hegmeyer would like to do is kind of walk through Article 1 along with the spreadsheet. Oops. Oh, there's okay. Yep, okay. Mr. Hegmeyer, you want to go?
Sure, Mr. Chair, like you said, I'll walk through Article 1. You have the spreadsheet in front of you, but it might be easier just to walk through the actual bill, Article 1. Maybe I'll make a few references to the spreadsheet. The first appropriation you see is on line 1.20. It's $199,000. It's for the voluntary certified program for de-icer applicators. This is the amount that was listed in the fiscal note. You'll also notice later on in the bill in section 80 on page 67, line 16, there's now a fee associated with that, which gets deposited in the environmental fund. And at the end of the spreadsheet, you'll just see a question mark under revenues, because I don't know how much that is anticipated to produce at this time for that amount. That's the only appropriation to the Pollution Control Agency, and maybe going forward, they can assist us in telling us which division they'd like that to go into, because right now it doesn't specify a division where the appropriation would, or where the program would reside. On page 2, you'll see the Natural Resource Department appropriations, a total appropriation of $50,000 in the first year and $2.552 million in the second year. On line 2.13 is Land and Minerals Resource Management Division. The first appropriation of $319,000 is from the Minerals Management account. This was a governor's recommendation for this increase in the budget, and we just picked it up in here. On line 2.20, you'll see $28,000 appropriation from the land acquisition account in the Natural Resources Fund. This is to compensate the school trust for that road easement in San Diego State Forest. It also requires a 20% match of the cost of the project. I think the total cost is anticipated around $34,000, so we appropriated $28,000. Local match has to be 6 or 6.8, whatever it needs to be. On line 2.28, you'll see ecological and water resources. There's a $50,000 appropriation from the Heritage Enhancement Account in the Game and Fish Fund for the actions necessary to protect and restore and enhance naturally occurring wild rice in public waters. This is the same bill we heard earlier and actually passed out. It's the same amount of appropriation. You'll see the language for the wild rice later on in the bill. On page 3, we'll get to the Parks and Trails Management Division. This is where most of the appropriations occur.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And since we're moving pretty fast here, I'm wondering, it would be really helpful if you could point to, I know you mentioned on the wild rice one that was a previous bill. If you can let folks know, if you've got in your notes there, which things are new and which things are from other bills, whether it's the same amount as the bill that we already debated, that kind of thing. That would be really helpful, I think, especially for people following along at home.
Sure, Mr. Chair. I don't have great notes on that in my bill. I know Ms. Taylor has probably better notes on when we get to the policy section where these reference back to, so she can help you there. But I'll mention it if I know what the amounts changed or if anything changed in it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceed.
On page 3, line 4, there's $315,000 in the second year for the Natural Resources Fund to a grant for St. Louis County for the Voyager County ATV Trail. Of this amount, $285,000 is from the ATV account, $15,000 from the off-road vehicle account, and $15,000 is from the off-highway motorcycle account. And I think this is exactly the same as we heard it earlier. We did add end dates to all these appropriations too. A lot of them, when we heard them, they didn't have end dates, but we're not supposed to appropriate past or we're supposed to have an end date on all of appropriations that go through Ways and Means. On line 20, you'll see $300,000 in the second year for a grant to Lake County for the Prospectors Loop Trail System. Of that, $270,000 is from the ATV account, $15,000 is from the off-highway motorcycle account, and $15,000 is the off-road vehicle account. On line 30, you'll see $100,000 is from the all-terrain vehicle account, and that's for wetland delineation and environmental assessment work related to the Taconite State Trail. And again, I think all of them actually in this division, I believe, have been heard at these amounts, and they haven't changed, aside from adding end dates. Page 4, line 4, $100,000 is from the ATV account for grant to the City of Virginia and the Quad Cities ATV Club to develop ATV trail system in Virginia, Eveleth, Gilbert, and Mountain Iron. On line 13, there's $200,000 in the second year from the off-road vehicle account in the Natural Resources Fund for the DNR to contract with the project administrator to plan, design state off-road vehicle touring routes. Line 24 on page 4 is $200,000 from the off-road vehicle account to contract and prepare a comprehensive statewide strategic master plan for off-road vehicles. And then you'll see basically line 4.31 to 5.19 is kind of some of the things that are supposed to be included in that master plan. 5.20, there's $200,000 from the off-road vehicle account. It's to reimburse federal, county, and townships for the additional work and maintenance they need to do on roads related to the ATV and OHV use. If you get to page 6, we go into the Fish and Wildlife Management Division, so 6.4. The appropriation on line 6.5 is $650,000 for wildlife disease surveillance and response. And then another corresponding appropriation on line 6.9 under enforcement is $100,000 for the enforcement division for response to escaped animals from Survey farms, including, for Survey farm work. These two appropriations combined are $750,000 from the general fund. Both of these are general fund. That's the target for the committee. That's the only general fund money we're spending in the committee. Both of them are related to the survey work. On line 17, or page 6, line 17, there's $40,000 from the ATV account, and this is to pay for the fiscal note on the developing the youth training for ATVs. On page 6, line 23, you'll see new language. It creates it's first of a couple different sections. I'll explain more broadly what it does or intended to do. It's a natural resources damages account transfer. So basically, there's corresponding language in section 70, 71, a reference in 77 and 79. It's similar to the 3M water sustainability account, but it's a different account. It's how the agencies kind of operate now. DNR spends out of this account. It isn't actually created as an account, so the intent is just to create this account. It excludes any revenue deposited from the 3M settlement that goes into the 3M account. The intent is just to create this account in statute, so it's clear that we have it to reference and a little more clarity in the reporting so we can see what money's in there. Right now, there's 4 accounts in the remediation fund. If we create the 3M one, this would be the only one that isn't actually created in statute. So it was just a recommendation to help clarify that and get all 4 of them into statute. If you look at line 6.31, we're amending old session law from 2010. It creates a dual usage trail, but we also added an end date to this one, which is different than what we heard previously, but more consistent with how we appropriate money. On line 7.7, it's opening up the 2016 session law, and it's extending the availability of appropriation on 8.28. They just wanted another year for this appropriation to complete the work. That trail on line 8.30, it's 2017 session law that we're reopening. It looks like we're appropriating more money than we have in the past, but in effect, all this is doing, if you look at page 10.21, it is making the appropriations for the dedication of the deer management account. We had heard a bill earlier that deposited $16 from every hunting or deer hunting license into the account. This just cancels a statutory appropriation out of that account and directly appropriates all of the money, the new money and the statutory appropriation that we previously had into that new rider there for $8.606 million for deer habitat improvement and management programs. On page 10, line 26, it's amending 17 session law again just for Board of Water and Soil Resources. On page 12, line 27, it just extends the availability of the appropriation that Bowser can use for the 404 assumption work they're doing. It just gives them till the end of the biennium instead of the end of this year. That we haven't heard previously. And I believe that is all there is in Article 1. Just to mention on the spreadsheet, I think I went over all of that except the last page. There's a couple of question marks like I had mentioned. So the transfers, I don't know how much is in that natural resource damage dedicated appropriation that would go into the account, but it just transfers the same amount of money. It wouldn't spend any new money. It doesn't take any 3M money. It doesn't do anything like that. On line 60, you'll see the carry forwards. That would just be those extension of the appropriations. And then the 2 revenues, there's that ATV pilot project we'll hear later in the bill for Hayes Lake State Park. I don't know how much revenue they'd anticipate getting from the ATVs using the park. And then the de-icer applicator training, as I mentioned, there's a $250 fee. I don't know how much revenue that would produce at this time. And maybe the agency can help fill in some of these blanks as we move forward. And that's all I have for Article 1, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
Mr. Chair, members, I'm going to walk through Article 2, and that starts on page 14. Section 1 is from House File 3423. This is a DNR policy bill, and this section is as it was laid over in committee earlier. Section 2 is from Representative Swedzinski's House File 3761 with the endangered species exemption modification. You'll notice on lines 15.8 and 15.9, there's some new language so that the exemption would not apply to ground not previously disturbed by construction or maintenance. Section 3 is from House File 3440, Representative Lehman's bill dedicating 60% of the snowmobile trail and enforcement account. And this is as it was laid over. Section 4 is from House File 3648, or Representative Lewick's bill. This is the bill allowing.
Excuse me. You said 3648?
3648, yes. And this is as it was laid over with allowing the instructors to charge the fee for the training course, for the snowmobile training course. Section 5 is from House File 3905, the new bill that with changes to the DUI law. This is exactly as it was as it passed out of this committee. Section 6 is Representative Fabian's House File 3227 on the ATV safety training for youth. And this is as it was laid over. And Section 7 as well, it was also from that same bill, and it's as it was laid over. Section 8 is a modified version of Representative Fabian's House File 3142. This, it's been narrowed so that the all-terrain vehicle pilot for state parks would only be for Hayes Lake State Park. There's some language on 2126 through 2130 clarifying that they would need to have a state park permit. And then if you go to page 22, there's some additional language on 22.2 and 22.3 requiring that the area is designated for ATV use must previously been open to motorized vehicle use. And then you'll notice on 22.6 that the length of time for the pilot has been reduced, so it's roughly 2 years now. Section 9 is from the Chair's House File 3422. This is another DNR policy provision, and this is as it was laid over on the Gizzard Shad. As is Section 10, this is also from House File 3422. And this is as it was laid over. Excuse me. Sections 11 and 12, these are new that were brought to us by the DNR. They expands the Gull Lake and the Cross Lake pilot projects, allowing service providers under a permit to put zebra mussel contaminated equipment back into the lake. And this would expand it to additional sites at each of those lakes. Section 13 is from House File 2847, Representative Lewick's bill, the Cuyuna Country State Rec Area Citizens Advisory Council, and this is as it left the committee. Sections 14 and sections 15 on page 26. These are from the changes to Sophia's Law that passed the House floor. This is as the language as it was as it passed the House floor. Section 16 on page 27 and 17 and actually 18. These are all from the Chair's House File 3423, DNR policy relating to forestry. And these are all as they were laid over in committee. Section 19 on page 29 is from House File 3421, more DNR policy, and this is as it was laid over. Section 20 is from the Chair's House File 3350. It's slightly different. This is the one that dedicated $16 from each deer license that Mr. Hagemeyer mentioned when he was going through Article 1. You'll notice that on lines 29.27 and 29.29, there's some new language actually establishing the account, but otherwise it's as it was laid over. Sections 21 and 22 are from the Chair's House File 3421. This is from the DNR's policy on the elk licenses, and these are as they were laid over. Section 23 is from Representative Green's House File 3874 on the feral pigs. This has been modified from when the committee heard it. You'll see on line 31.6 and 31.7, a person would be able to keep the swine if the commissioner authorizes. Otherwise, they would still need to surrender the animal. Section 24 and then later on Section 26 are some modified provisions in response to Representative Nash's House File 2775. The DNR, instead of the apprentice hunter program changes, they expanded an existing provisional license provision to add those with permanent physical disabilities, and you'll see that another section later on. Section 25 is from Representative Swazinski's House File 2858, allowing artificial lights when hunting coyote and fox. This is modified from when the committee heard it. You'll notice on line 31.24, they would still need to use a shotgun, so they would not be able to do it using rifles as was originally proposed. Moving to page 32, this is the other section, 26, from Representative Nash's bill. And this, let's see, page 33 is from the Chair's House File 3422, another provision from the DNR policy bill. This is mostly as it was laid over, but you'll notice on line 33.30, the DNR had requested used to be put back in rather than permitted, which was originally amended when we heard it earlier. Sections 28 and 29 are from Representative Fisher's House File 3908, and these are as the Clean Water Legacy Act changes, and these are as they were laid over in committee. Section 30 is on page 35 is a new provision. This would allow Bowser to provide information and technical or financial support to the Red River Basin Commission, and then establishes a definition of the commission for the purposes of this section. Sections 31 and 32 are additional provisions from Representative Fisher's House File 3908, and these are as they were laid over. Section 33, on page 36, this is from Representative Torkelson's House File 3836. This is the language as it left the Ag Committee. And this is some recommendations from the Drainage Work Group, and this would allow drainage authorities to put in an order to establish permanent buffers and side inlet controls. Section 34 on page 37 is also from House File 3836, and this allows a county without a county attorney to hire competent counsel for drainage proceedings, and this, again, another recommendation from the Drainage Work Group. Section 35 is from the chair's House File 3120, and this is a modified version of the provision. You'll see on 3729, the board was still required to establish the wetland banking fees based on the agency's costs, but there had been additional language allowing the board to bill internally and externally, and that provision has been removed. Section 36 is from Representative Green's House File 3679. This is from the Newberger Amendment, prohibiting the DNR from requiring new conditions when transferring water appropriation permits. Section 37 is from Representative Green's, the underlying bill, House File 3679. This is as it was laid over. And Section 38 is, again, from that bill from the Newberger Amendment on the management plan requirements with economic costs. The following sections are from Representative Fisher's House File 3908, so that would be 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45. Those are all as they were laid over. Section 46 is also from the Fisher bill, but you'll notice on line 41.29, the Minnesota Forest Resources Council was added when applicable, and we had discussed this in committee. Otherwise, it was as laid over. Section 47, 48, 49, 50 are also from the Representative Fisher bill. Again, on section 50, if you go to page 44, line 44.5, the Minnesota Forest Resources Council was again added, as we discussed in committee. Then moving to section 51, that's also from the Fisher bill, and that's as it was laid over, as is 52. And then on page 46, you'll see the first in several sections from House File 2940, the Representative Bliss bill that prohibits the PCA from increasing water fees without legislative approval. And this was as it was laid over or passed out of committee. Section 54 on the bottom of page 50 is another section from the chair's House File 3120. And this was as it was laid over. Section 55 is another provision from the chair's 3120, and it is also in Representative Torkelson's 3960 on the peer review, and this is as it was laid over or passed out of committee. Page 53 at the top, section 56. This is another section from House File 3120 on the regulatory certainty, and this is as it was laid over or passed out. Section 57 is another section from House File 2940 on the water fees, as is 58 and 59, and those are all as they were last heard by the committee. Section 60 is from House File 3078, Representative Heinzman's bill, and this is a modified version of the language, and I believe this has been worked out. Section 61 on the top of page 50 30.5, and then also this goes on for several sections. These are from House File 3095, Representative Smith's organized collection bill, and these are all as they pass the House floor. So we could skip ahead to the bottom of page 58, section 69. This is from House File 3709, Representative Jurgens' bill on the private well testing in the East Metro, and this is as it was laid over. Section 70 is new. This is the language that establishes the account that Mr. Hagemeyer was talking about, the natural resources damages account. And the intent, again, is basically codifying existing practice, except you'll see on line 60.14 through 60.18, there would be a reporting requirement. Section 71 is also a new section necessary for the new account. You'll see on line 61.9 and 61.10, where we're removing the DNR from that paragraph and then sort of reestablishing a new paragraph that would only apply to the DNR, just so we could separate the PC and the DNR. So it was better to point to one for the purposes of the account. Section 72 on page 62. This is from House File 3660, Representative Fenton's bill on the 3M settlement. This is as it was as it left the committee, as is Section 73 that was also from that bill. Section 74 is from House File 3441, Representative Backer's bill on fugitive dust exemption. And this is as it was last heard by the committee. Section 75 is another section from House File 2940, Representative Bliss' bill on the water fees, and this is as it was before the committee last. Section 76 is from House File 3216, Representative Schomaker's bill on the truck washing. This is as it was last heard by the committee. Let's see. The next section, 77, this is from House File 3660, the 3M settlement, and then also a change was necessary to account for the new natural resources damages account. That's just sort of a technical fix to accommodate the creation of those two accounts. Section 78 is from House File 3660. This is just establishing that 3M account. And then Section 79, again, pointing to the new natural resources damages account we're creating. Section 80 is from the House File 3577, the salt applicator bill. As Mr. Hagemeyer mentioned, there's the new fee. You'll see the fee on line 6716. There's also modified liability and record-keeping requirements from when the committee heard it earlier. On page 68, Section 81, and then Section 82 on page 69. These are from the chair's House File 3666, the PCA policy bill, and these are as they were last heard by the committee. Section 83 is another section from House File 3905, the DUI bill, and this is as it was last heard by the committee. Sections 84 through 87 are from Representative Metz's House File 3029 on the mine inspection and fencing requirements, and these are all as they were last heard by the committee. So you can skip ahead to page 72. Section 88 is from House File 3819, Representative Fenton's bill. This is as it was heard by the committee, except you'll see on line 73.5 through 73.7, just an effective date for local approval, since this would be special law was added in GovOps. Section 89 is from House File 3210, Representative Lunen's bill, and this is as it was laid over. Section 90 is from House File 3153, another Lunen bill, and this is as it was last before the committee. Section 91 is from House File 3280, Representative Lewick's bill on the wild rice sulfate standard, and this is as it was last heard by the committee. Section 92 is a new section requested by the DNR, providing some additional time for their for a report on their pilot project with the service providers on the AIS service provider. Section 93 is another new section. This extends the date by 4 years of the provisions passed last session relating to the Sand Dune State Forest. There were some forest management and some other requirements that were established. Section 94 is a modified version of House File 3907. This provision would remove the expiration of the prohibition on using civil action to obtain access to that one WMA that we heard in committee. Section 95 is from House File 4028, Representative Knobloch's bill, and this is as it was last heard by the committee. Section 96 is from House File, the PCA's policy bill, House File 3666, and this is as it was laid over or passed out. Section 97, House File 3557 is Representative Lewick's bill on the EAW rulemaking for recreational trails, and this is as the committee last heard it. Section, excuse me, Section 98 is from House File 3120, the chair's bill. This is a modified version. In the last time this language was before the committee, it was a requirement. Now you'll see on line 77.12 and a few other places it's now permissive. It's a may. Sections 99 and 100 are from Representative Runbeck's House File 4003. This is mostly as the committee last heard it, except you'll see on line 78.2 and 78.3, there was some additional language added to narrow the scope so that the court order would only apply the north and east metro groundwater, as there were some concerns that the language was a little broad earlier. Section 101 is from House File 2732, Representative Eric's bill, and this is as it was laid over. Section 102 is a new provision in response to the discussion the committee had with Representative Nash on carbon monoxide detectors in fish houses. This would require the DNR to work with manufacturers and others to put together some best practices and also increase their outreach on carbon monoxide education. Section 103 is another section from Representative Fisher's House File 3908. It's been modified to remove the work group, and now it's more of a cooperative effort, but otherwise it's similar to what the committee heard earlier. Section 104 is a modified version of House File 4243 on the Hill Annex mine. The DNR would still be required to operate the Hill Annex mine, but the requirement that it operate at fiscal year 2016 levels has been removed, and another of the other requirements were removed as well in the appropriation. There is not an appropriation for it at this point in the bill as originally proposed. Section 105 is from the chair's House File 4070. This is on the demolition landfills. This is as it was last heard by the committee. Section 106 is another section from House File 3836, Representative Torkelson's bill, and with the drainage work group recommendations allowing drainage authorities with the consent of property owners to put in buffers prior to actually acquiring the rights to the buffer strip. Section 107 and the rest of the bill actually are from Representative Lewick's Wild Rice bill. These are as the committee last heard them, except for the last section, Section 114. There was an amendment in Ways and Means, and this language reflects that. And also the appropriation was removed and put into the Article 1, as you saw earlier. And that concludes that.
Was that it? Thank you. Okay, we got some people who've signed up to testify on the bill. So first we'll call down DNR, Assistant Commissioner Meyer, and Chief Financial Officer Ulick. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members. For the record, Bob Meyer, Assistant Fisher, Department of Natural Resources. I have with me Barb Julick, our CFO, Chief Financial Officer. She will be discussing some of the fiscal impact of the bill, and I will be covering some of the policy issues that we have with the bill. Before we get into all of the fiscal issues, I just want to touch base on the $28,000 appropriation from the land acquisition count in subdivision 2, lines 2.20 to 2.27. This would be to deal with the school trust fund trespass on a road in Oric Township. It would take money actually from the DNR's land acquisition account, which is an account where lands that we sell go into the account for acquisition of new lands. So we're concerned about the precedent that this would set, taking state dollars to deal with a local trespass on school trust fund land, and do not support that compensation, the whole appropriation. In addition, this precedent would severely limit or probably cease a lot of our land sales activities, because the lands that we sell, the money goes into this account to be used for more land. So if the department sees a signal from the legislature to be using these funds for trespasses and all things like that, I think we will have issues in the future of selling land. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to Ms. Julik to talk about the rest of the fiscal issues, and I will finish up with some policy concerns we have.
Julie, proceed, please.
Mr. Chair, members, for the record, my name is Barb Julik, Chief Financial Officer at the DNR. First, I want to thank the committee for recognizing some of the priorities in the DNR budget. The budget bill does include $319,000 from the mineral management account to keep that program, our research program, at prior levels of funding. That will ensure efficient permitting moving out into the future. So thank you for that. Also want to recognize that the use of general fund for chronic wasting disease response is appreciated. The governor did recognize this as the appropriate fund for that response versus hunting fees. However, I do need to mention that the request was for $1.5 million, and the bill provides for about half of that. With that, we will have to use game and fish funding for our response in order to have an appropriate level of response, which does mean we will be tapping into hunting fees for this response. By doing that, we'll be impacting other kind of base core work within those programs, including habitat management work within the Fish and Wildlife Program. The second item I'd like to point out is the governor's budget included $1 million for forestry inventory. That's not included in this budget. Without this money, we will continue to operate our current program, which is a 20-year cycle, and which doesn't allow for updating our inventory data and creates a risk of less accurate data that we would use to make decisions on. This continues the risk of under or over harvesting and prevents us from obtaining that optimal sustainability level within our harvest. The third item, just a couple of language pieces. In Article 2, Section 3, the language requiring 60% of all revenue in the snowmobile account going into grant and aid programs. As we've testified before, we do have concerns with this language. Within the snowmobile account, any annual revenue and any annual need is very weather dependent, and that varies across the state, and it varies year to year. And we need the flexibility to manage that account according to each year's revenues that are being collected and each year's needs that are different from north to south and east to west. And I think the last item, there's some new sections in the bill regarding the NRDA, creating the NRDA account. We don't have problems with this. Just want to continue to work with staff to make sure that we get the language correct.
Thank you. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to go back to the $750,000 and the use of the Game and Fish Fund, or the actual hunter licenses to pay for chronic wasting disease. So your request was for $1.5 million, and there's only $750,000 here. So that forces you to go in the Game and Fish Fund, or do we have to authorize you going in the Game and Fish Fund, or what happens if you don't go in the Game and Fish Fund?
Ms. Julie.
Mr. Chair, Representative, our current appropriation and authority to spend under the current Game and Fish appropriation would include these activities as allowable activities. Our preference would not be, and that is reflected in the governor's budget. Not tapping into that money and limiting our response to the general fund appropriation would introduce the risk of not being able to contain the outbreak and not being able to provide the appropriate response.
Representative Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I wonder, are there any deer hunters in the audience that would want to comment on that? Or maybe there's not anybody from the public here. If there's nobody from the public here, maybe there's a representative from the Deer Hunters Association that would want to comment on that.
Maybe. Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a member of the Deer Hunters Association, so maybe I can comment on that. And Ms. Julik, if you could just, I think, repeat what you just said. I just want to make sure that I'm clear. And you just said if you don't have the dollars, you will not be able to contain the chronic wasting disease outbreak.
Ms. Julik.
Mr. Chair, Representative,
I don't believe that's what you said.
No.
Okay? I think someone's putting words in your mouth.
yeah, what I stated was that we would, the current appropriation out of the Game and Fish Fund, the allowable activities for that money to be spent on is not prevented from using that. At this point, then it becomes, do we or don't we? And to the extent we do, we would be using Game and Fish funds for the response, plus the $750 in the general fund. We want to make sure we have the appropriate response, that we are responding quickly, effectively, and efficiently to across the 3 farms and in the Fillmore County area.
Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Julik, for the clarification. Wasn't trying to put words in your mouth, was asking for clarification. It was kind of hard to hear in the microphone with all the flipping back and forth. Related to the deer management account, I'm wondering, it might be a question for Mr. Meyer to speak to what we're doing here, because it is, I think this goes back to something we did last session, but I just want, for everybody's benefit, to kind of clarify what's going on there with increasing the $2 to $16.
Commissioner Meyer.
Chairman and Representative Finn, that language is really, it has no fiscal impact, creating the deer management account. In actuality, it stems from an agreement that we had with the Deer Hunters Association from last session on how those new revenues would be spent. Just real quickly to go back to Representative Hanson's question, the money that we received, we're very appreciative of, the $750 general fund. Last year, we spent approximately $1.4 million of all funds on chronic wasting disease response. 500,000 of that came from the Heritage Enhancement account. So obviously, we're still dialing in our budget for this year. It will be more than the 750 most likely, and we can report back to the committee what we're anticipating on needing for monitoring and surveillance. The rest of those dollars will come from the Game and Fish Fund and most likely the deer management account. So, Mr. Chairman, just a clarification on that issue.
Thank you. Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, I know we touched on this when we talked about this initially in committee, but just to be clear about what the deer management account, the language, flip through here. The deer management account is established as an account in the Game and Fish Fund and may be used only for deer habitat improvement or deer management programs. So is the deer management programs the area that allows you to address CWD? Could you just talk about that a little bit?
Commissioner Meyer.
Chairman, Representative, yes, that would be a direct correlation to that language.
Thank you.
Representative Becker-Finn. Maybe Mr. Hagemeyer, but Ms. Julik, currently, how much money is in the Game and Fish Fund?
Mr. Chair, members, I believe Mr. Chair, are you requesting what's the projected fund balance?
Yeah.
Annual revenue?
I would say that what is the projected fund balance at the end of fiscal year 18?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Too many fund balance statements. Mr. Chair, members, based on the February forecast, the projected fund balance at the end of fiscal year 18 is about $15 million.
15?
15.
5-0.
Yep.
So who's got a calculator here? We're talking about the potential of $750,000 coming from the Game and Fish Fund. What percentage of the Game and Fish Fund is $750,000?
Mr. Chair, the annual spending out of the Game and Fish Fund is close to $94 million.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Mr. Chair, the annual spending out of the Game and Fish Fund is closer to $93 or $94 million.
Okay, but you, okay. So the number gets even smaller. Thank you. Representative Luick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a kind of a follow-up on Assistant Commissioner Meyer's concern about how we're dealing with a historic, long-standing trespass on school trust land. I would suggest, Mr. Chair, the committee probably needs to have a much, much larger discussion, if possible, yet this year, at least for information purposes, because that $28,000 trespass is a tip of the iceberg, and actually, those trespasses tend to be more specific to divisions within the DNR. There are some of those that deal with local units of government, but some of them actually have to deal with things like boat landings, boat accesses that the DNR controls, school trust land that may be in wildlife management areas, little less of an issue with the ones that are in state forest areas because we generate revenue off those for forestry reasons. But to give you a scope of the problem and why we really need to start that discussion, it's going to be a multi-year effort, I think, to correct it. We're talking $80 to $100 million worth of trespass out there if we were trying to correct what we know right now, the value of school trust lands that are not generating revenue, and I say those trespasses or decision to use them in a different way. Some of those happened decades and decades ago. This is something that's going to take us a while to solve. So I say we've got, there's a number of solutions there, and if it's possible, Mr. Chair, I would say after we get done with this financial thing, is it might be appropriate to hold a hearing that specifically starts to lay out some major things that we're going to have to do if we're truly going to resolve these trespasses, because this is just a tiny example of things that people with good intention did or didn't do years ago. But we're talking $100 million problem here that the school trust corpus and the school children of Minnesota are owed that $100 million, and they're not gaining any revenue from the interest on that, which goes directly to each school district. So again, I share your concern, but we got to start someplace. This is $28,000 chipping away at a $100 million problem. Thank you.
Did you calculate the percentage on that? Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I don't know if folks have more questions for DNR. I had a couple other questions.
For DNR?
No, but, I think maybe Representative Wagenius.
Yep, okay. Representative Wagenius.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Assistant Commissioner Meyer, I just wonder, I'm not remembering our conversation. I know we had one about if a deer farm kind of goes away, goes bankrupt, then you have to double fence it, and it becomes the responsibility of the state.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
Okay. If it becomes the responsibility of the state because that person who was running the farm is no longer doing it, doesn't have any money, whatever, and there's no insurance or trust fund, where does the money come from to double fence and manage that piece of land for many years? Would you be using the deer management account?
That may be a question for Board of Animal Health, but Commissioner Meyer?
Mr. Chairman, yes, and thank you, Representative Wagenius. Mr. Chairman, the Board of Animal Health has those authorities right now. I don't know if they have the funding to do that. There's no requirement that that property be double fenced at that point in time. there are requirements for monitoring and surveillance if you do participate in the United States Department of Agricultural buyout program because of an infested herd. But, I mean, that would come out of the Board of Animal Health's appropriation.
Representative Joaquin, yes.
But I'm getting mixed messages here, but you don't, but do they have the appropriation? Do they have the money to actually do that?
Mr.
Commissioner Meyer.
Chairman, Representative Wagenius, I have no idea. Perhaps Mr. Hagemeyer would be able to answer that question.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think that's just one of the fundamental questions here, because we are going to have to make sure deer aren't going in and out of that area, and it just feels like a hole in what's happening here. So if we don't know that, I'm afraid what will happen is the DNR will have to do it, and coming out of the deer management account, and a lot of this doesn't seem appropriate to me, that the folks who are buying deer licenses are being required to pay for a problem they did not cause. I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Thank you. Well, two things. First of all, the Board of Animal Health falls in the jurisdiction of the Ag Committee. Chair Hamilton and Chair Anderson, I know, are having discussions and so forth. The OLA's report, members, and everybody else is due out, I believe, this Friday, which will shed some light on the situation. We've been saying Representative Hoppe has been the lead on this committee with regards to the CWD, and I respect and have taken input from other folks. But it's been critical from my perspective that the OLA's report be made public and might give us some guidance on how and where and when to proceed. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow, and I'm sure that we're going to stay engaged in this conversation, as this bill and as this session moves forward. I'm a member of the Deer Hunters Association, have been for many, many years. I've bought, I think it's 41 different years. I've bought deer licenses. I bought multiple licenses. Me personally, I'm not speaking for anyone else other than myself. If $1 or $2, if we sell 500,000 licenses a year and $1 or something like that comes out of my license to help combat this situation, I'm comfortable with that. I'd be happy to write a check out to the DNR to help them with this as a deer hunter, as Dan Fabian, the deer hunter. So I can wear my orange cap if you want me to, but folks, this is a big issue. I understand that, and we are trying to take some steps to do this. If we want to politicize it, I'm not so sure that things are going to get very far. So let's work together, and let's see if we can actually address a problem that is of great concern to many, many people across the state. Representative Sundin.
I don't want to talk about deer. I want to talk about sand dunes, if it's okay.
You have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last year, we talked about the sand dune state forest there, and I guess the best way to frame it is that we're meddling with department plans, removing some trees or whatever. Could we revisit that just briefly? Questions to the department, and then can anyone explain why we're extending this prohibition to 6 years rather than the 2 that we talked about a year ago?
Commissioner Meyer, and then I think Representative
Chairman.
Newberger.
This is one of the issues I was going to raise concern about in my comments, and hopefully I can get back to those at some point in time. I just have a few more comments to finish up our presentation. But the sand dune state forest, by extending that from 2 years to 6 years, does present concern to us and limits the way we want to manage these lands. And it will actually draw the question about why should the state have these lands if we can't manage them for their intended purposes. So we'll just continue working down that road. We don't support the extension. We're willing to work with the community on the management, but to handcuff our management abilities of these lands into the future for another 4 years, we have concerned about that.
Representative Sundin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, is this just an issue to pacify some nearby landowners, homeowners?
Mr. Chairman, I can let Representative Newberger talk about that, but basically we have people who are living within a state forest who do not want the state forest managed for us as a state forest. So if we can't manage it, why should we own it? And that's kind of It's really boiled down very simply. We can provide you comments of the report and more detailed information.
But, excuse me for interrupting, but the reality is, as I understand it, is that it's not going to be managed as a forest. It's going to be managed as a prairie. Representative Newberger.
Thank you, Mr.
Oops,
Chair.
I'm sorry. Representative Sundin, you still had the floor. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm waiting for a response.
I apologize. Representative Newberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, here we go again. Sand Dune State Forest, established 1875 with, it's Orac, basically Orac Township. We got 36.2 square miles. In 1945, the Sand Dune State Forest was 2 square miles. In 1951, it became 17 square miles. We have, that does not factor in the Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge as well. We have a township here, Orac Township, that is basically interwoven in and around the Sand Dune State Forest with a very limited tax capacity. We have families that have been there for generations who have lived, worked, and done fine up until 2013 when there was a huge power change in the DNR, and some people who had some different agendas wanted to go in, and they came out and they said, you know what, we want to clear cut a large section of the Sand Dune State Forest because, you know what, it's on school trust land and we want to help the children. They wrapped it up in that. And members, you know, when we sat down and we looked at where they were planning to cut and we looked at where the school trust was, funny how it didn't line up. And then they came out and they said, well, I guess you're right. We want to change it back to, you know, the way God had made it before the settlers had gotten there, before the Civil War. We want to turn it into an oak savanna. Really? An oak savanna? You want to pick this fight, Representative Sundin? Let's go there. An oak savanna? What's the first name of the Sand Dune State Forest? Sand. What's the last thing you want to plant oaks in? Sand. Why? Oak wilt. The best thing you're going to get is bur oak that looks like junk, and it's disease-ridden. The reason why they picked oak savanna is because it takes 60 to 80 years for an oak to mature. So what are we going to do in the meantime? We're going to plant wildflowers and wildgrass. We want bug habitat. This is nothing more than an agenda push from a few top leaders at the DNR. They're preferring bugs over people. You go in and you clear cut large sections of the Sand Dune State Forest. What's that going to do to the property values and the people that have lived there for generations? You want to pick that fight? Let's go there. And so what are we doing? We got 233rd Avenue. It's a major access point that goes east to west on the southern side of the township. If you want to get emergency vehicles in and out of that area, you have to use 233rd Avenue, which, by the way, was classified between the township and the county as that type of road. It got passed back and forth between township and county. Somewhere along the line in the paperwork, 233rd Avenue got co-opted by the DNR. And they haven't been managing it very well. Orac Township has. And they've asked for an easement on that. And one has been granted for free. Thank you. Thank you, DNR, for giving that for free, because the audit, that the cost to pay back this tiny portion of 233rd Avenue was $34,000. Oh, but by the way, your free road's going to cost you $34,000 because that's what you have to pay back to the school trust land. Orac Township doesn't have a lot of money because the majority of it has been stamped over with national and state land. So when we want to reach into the land sales and say, you know what, we're going to ask the DNR to help us out here. We're going to ask them to cough up $28,000. Really? That's chump change. That's something that you can find in your couch cushions, probably down at the agency someplace. And we're asking the township to kick in another 20%. They're taking a little bit of ownership on this as well. So it's time we move forward with this and get out of my district and stop trying to micromanage something that ain't broke. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The forest has been fine until 2013 when we had a big ideological change. And suddenly now everybody in the state wants to mess with it. Leave it alone. There's nothing wrong with the Sand Dune State Forest. Now the DNR has been holding meetings for years, 2 years, monthly meetings. We have had residents show up for these things. They go 3 or 4 hours once a month. I've been to the majority of those. And we've fought this battle. And we had a final summary meeting before the legislature started this year. And you know what? We didn't hear one complaint, not one from the DNR about the changes we made last year. Not one. But here we are sitting in committee like we're trying to pull the rug out from underneath somebody's feet. Well, that's not the case. As long as I hold this office, I'm going to fight for that township. And I'm going to fight for sand dunes because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Couldn't have said it better myself, no.
the
And
reality
just
is
to,
most
and
of
let
Minnesota
me
will
interrupt
be,
here,
Oaks and
Commissioner Meyer,
Adams for
please.
100 years, so,
Commissioner?
yes.
We had a robust discussion on this, I believe it was last year, and when he talks about the philosophical change or whatever within the agency, we got it basically on record that it was Eco Waters that was driving the decision that was made there and not forestry. I'll remind you of that. So with that, would you please continue with your presentation or your comments?
Mr. Chairman, just quickly on the sand dunes piece about the free easement, the language in the lands bill coincides with this payment of the trust fund land, so I don't think the department will be issuing any easement until the whole thing is resolved. Doesn't make any sense to issue an easement for half of a road, so unless you're only going to drive on one lane. We'll continue to work with folks on that and try to do the best we can to resolve it. And just, I will forward the management plan to folks, but what we were talking about in our 2017 to 2022 vegetative management plan was doing some invasive species work. There's going to be about 1,500 acres for commercial harvest through thinning pending assessment, 679 acres for final harvest on rotation age, 336 acres for management of habitat enhancement, and then 73 acres for habitat management through selective tree removal. That report and the executive summary, we will send that to committee staff, Mr. Chairman. Going back to the rest of our comments on the bill, we talked about the township. There's language in section 2, lines 15.4 to 15.9 that recognizes a compromise that we've come up with with Minnesota County Engineers Association on the taking of endangered and threatened species, so thank you for that. We appreciate that. Ms. Julich talked about the 60-40 split on the snowmobile account. If we continue to do that, I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, we discontinue over-appropriating that account. We've been over-appropriating funds in the snowmobile account by over $1 million a year in the anticipation of snow. So now this would force us.
You got it now.
Unfortunately, the trails are closed, but this would force us to split imaginary money that we don't have, so we'll have to look at that. Talked about the Sand Dune State Forest extension, the language that's in the bill dealing with Hayes Lake ATVs, Mr. Chairman, we've talked about that quickly. We will continue working on that issue. Section 94, dealing with the prohibition on Clearwater County, that will, my concern is that may impede the ability for us to sell this land if we decide to, or actually what we have to do is probably give it back to the federal government since that's where we received it from. So we'll be continuing working on that. Section 97, Representative Lewick's bill dealing with EQB rule changes. We need to look at each letter and period and everything on that language as we don't want to get caught up going into the good cause rulemaking exemption. So I'm working with Representative Lewick on that. The Section 101 on the ceded territory and the Fisheries Technical Committee, we may be able to invite whoever we want. That doesn't mean that they will let them in. So there's, just to make sure that people understand this language doesn't really allow these people to go. It allows the DNR to invite them. Mr. Chairman, again, thank you for all of the DNR pieces that are in the bill. We look forward to working with you closely on this issue, and we will be sending a letter outlining our concerns in detail shortly.
Thank you. Representative Sundin.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to thank Representative Newberger for that, I guess, very thorough explanation of the issue there. But I guess through his comments and through the DNR's plan, you know, they match up God's plan and DNR's plan kind of match up better. I'm just sorry that the township involved can't see that.
Thank you. Thank you to the testifiers. Next, Greta Gothier from MPCA. Are we good? Oh, I'm sorry, Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, and maybe you can answer this. I don't know that we need the Assistant Commissioner to answer this, but could we just remind folks where the Hayes Lake State Park is? I just want to make sure we're staying away from Representative Newberger's district.
Hayes Lake State Park is in the Beltrami Island State Forest in the southeast corner of Roseau County, which happens to be my home county. Okay? Representative Hanson. We do have this room reserved for room 5 reserved for this evening too, just so you know. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe Commissioner Meyer, did he already get out the door, or is he still? That was fast, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I did not hear the question.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Mr. Chair, well, I was waiting for Mr.
Representative
Chair.
Hanson.
Commissioner Meyer, on page 38, section 37, is there a fiscal cost for that? Where would that money come from? Is there a fiscal note on the bill? But particularly this item, I mean, Commissioner must pay for the cost of the well. Where does that come from? What?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I would assume the money would come from the Eco Waters budget dealing with water management activities. In reality, what this would do, rather than have a yellow letter, right now we have a green, yellow, and red letters when people apply for their irrigation permits. We just wouldn't have a yellow letter. We would just say yes or no, because we wouldn't want to be held liable for that test well if it were to fail. So, again, we testified against this in committee, so we do not support it.
Representative Hanson.
And maybe this, Mr. Chair, is a question.
Admire, I think, is.
Yeah, a question on how this would work.
Mr. Chair, Representative Hanson, there was a fiscal note on this bill when we heard it. It was, I think the agency responded that it'd be $31,000 per year. They're anticipating I think it was needing 5 total wells per year, a couple shallow ones, a couple deeper ones. It would come out of the water management account in Eco Waters, and we appropriate annually between $5 and $6 million out of that account, I believe. So it'd just be in that budget portion that we appropriate.
Representative Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I did also want to follow up. Thank you, Representative Newberger. I was worried that state park thing was about geese, and so I wasn't sure about that. So thank you for that follow-up. I don't have any further questions for Commissioner Meyer, but I do have a couple of questions. I don't have any further questions for Commissioner Meyer, but I have a couple other questions.
Okay, can it wait till after we get the other testifiers, or?
So the PCA is next?
PCA is next.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. Ms. Gothier. Mr. Kadelka. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members. For the record, Greta Gothier, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. Mr. Chairman, rather than phone a friend, I just brought my friend with me today.
Perfect.
Assistant Commissioner Kadelka and I are going to kind of tag team, focusing on the new language or modified language in the bill, Mr. Chairman. So we appreciate the opportunity to testify. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Kadelka first.
Commissioner.
Mr. Chair and committee members, for the record, my name is Kirk Kadelka. I'm an assistant commissioner with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. And we're just starting off with the items in the bill that are new, and we'll echo the comments of the DNR on the natural resources damages count. We just want to work with the committee on that. We are okay with the concept, but we want to make sure that all the interactions between MPCA and DNR, because we do joint budgeting in that, are captured correctly in there, and that you get all the information that you're looking for, which is our understanding of what the intent is there. So we'll continue to work with the committee on that aspect.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the next item is Section 80, which is new, the salt applicator, the voluntary salt applicator training. So, Mr. Chairman, looking at the language in the bill, we see a lot of good changes since the bill was heard in committee, especially the restoration of the Commissioner's Enforcement Authority. We appreciate that. The clarification on the Commissioner's responsibility for the training program, and the ability for the Commissioner to charge a fee to recover some costs for this voluntary training. However, Mr. Chairman, we remain concerned that the fee cap of $250 will not provide sufficient funds, and that the new training program is funded out of the environmental fund. For the record, our fiscal note asks for a $350 cap and taking the funds from the general fund. But that said, Mr. Chairman, we intend to continue the sponsorship approach that we have been using over the last decade in providing this voluntary training, but we've been providing it on federal funds. We will continue to use that approach when, should this become law, in which the sponsors would cover things like the venue, the lunch, the manuals. And we would continue to work with partners we've worked with in the past, which mostly have been watershed districts, but we're open to all partners, Mr. Chairman. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Kadelka.
A demotion.
I'm tired.
Mr. Chair and committee members, the other two parts I'd like to quickly highlight on is the well testing part in Washington County related to PFCs. We're continuing to work with the legislators that have sponsored this in both bodies, and as a result, there may be changes as we continue to move forward. I've already made changes in how we do well sampling in those areas to address the concerns heard by citizens, and we've unveiled those in February and talked about those in our public meetings in the communities the last couple weeks, and have not heard any concerns with it, so I think we're moving forward in that area. The reporting part and the outreach about information on where we've sampled, what are the results in that, we do agree need to be improved, and we're working on a plan to share with the representatives to outline how that would be done, and that may change the language, and we'll continue to work on that. On the demo landfill piece, we also have shared language with the counties on the report to see if we can clean that up and get what we both are looking forward. However, on the demo landfill language, the first part dealing with the permitting, we still oppose for the reasons that we outlined earlier in committee, and I won't go through all those to conserve the committee's time. We're on record on that aspect.
Finally, Mr. Chair, we remain opposed to the water fee increases in your bill and the wild rice language. We've testified extensively about that, so won't go over that again. And we do want to...
Just to be clear, we're not increasing water fees in this bill, okay? So
Understood,
the
Mr.
language is that we are not allowing for the increase in the water fees. Correct, right?
Mr. Chairman, I thought that the language was to...
Which section are you talking about, please?
Well, it's in several sections. It was the bill that would require that our water fees be brought before the legislature and be approved during the legislative process and put in, the legislative bill.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. And thank you finally, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members for including our two small policy provisions in sections 81 and 96. And with that, Mr. Chairman, that's our comments. Thank you
Okay.
very much for the time.
Thank you. Representative Lewick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, not so fast. In view of the recent order issued by the Chief Administrative Law Judge rejecting this last appeal on the wild rice sulfate standard, the agency, as I understand it, continues to object to the language in this bill and the separate bill relative to the standard. What specifically is the agency's position and resolution on this? Obviously, didn't go very well with that second iteration of the rule.
I'm not very good at reading legal documents, but I did read through this one, and it was pretty scathing on the agency, so go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Lewick. So I'm hearing two questions. The ALJ did respond back to our response to the earlier ALJ's report, so the second response is from the chief ALJ. She did still have concerns with some of the implementation provisions around this. However, she did also say that we could either address those concerns or that we could continue on the statutory process laid out in Chapter 14, through which would be the next step would be to come to the Legislative Coordinating Commission. And so that is kind of the decision point right now. If you go down to the end of her order on page 14 and 15, you'll see that although she raises concerns, she does say you can either address these concerns or you can move forward with the process. So the commissioner has been in meetings with the governor about this yesterday, the day before. The governor is gathering more information, and they are working together to determine what the next steps will be for the agency.
Representative Lewick.
Thank you. So I guess the short answer is still under consideration after 8 years, how we're going to resolve this issue.
Ms. Gothier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Lewick. Yes, this process has been going on for a long time because, again, the legislature asked us to do this research and we did it. However, the point that we find ourselves at now, having to decide whether to go back to the chief ALJ or go to the LCC, we have talked with most of the rulemaking staff in the bigger agencies, and nobody can ever remember an agency going to the LCC and actually taking the step that's outlined in Chapter 14.15. So this is kind of it has been 8 years, but this isn't we've never been in this position before as an agency, and as far as anybody working in agencies on rules right now can tell, no agency has been. So I think it's prudent for the governor to map out what the circumstances and options are and that sort of thing, and that's what he intends to do.
So to that point on the rule, is the MPCA then going to withdraw the rule? Ms. Gothier?
Mr. Chairman, a decision has not, the governor and the commissioner have been meeting on this, and the governor has asked for more information. We are getting that pulled together for the governor, and I'm sure that the governor and the commissioner will be talking again soon, although I don't know what the schedule for that.
Representative Lewick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would strongly suggest that the folks in the agency very clearly highlight the issues that the administrative law judge found with the rule. And I'm not going to go into the 5 or 6 sections that just explicitly indicate that the approach is wrong, it won't work. We violated a whole number of things. We can't even really determine which lakes legitimately out there would even qualify for this. There's an argument about that. There's an argument, put argument by, not related to the science, just related to the mechanism of applying any standard that says, well, we're going to start here, and maybe after 10 years we'll have some clue whether or not we've reached the right point. And so we need to understand that, like it or not, we kind of went down the wrong path here as to the mechanism, and I know the last letter that the commissioner provided in Ways and Means talked about absolutely the science is settled. Well, in one point I could agree. We know what the science is at this point, but there is a major, major problem with how we would apply that or attempt to apply it. I mean, you've got both industry and local units of government that can't wait and watch over a 10-year period where, well, let's see, we did some more sampling and now we're going to tweak that again. We're going to change that standard, that requirement. And so we just need to really, truly back up, and that's what in here it basically says, you know what, let's just cut to the quick, let's go back and let's start all over again. And please do not keep poking at the existing permits and new permits at this point, because obviously, what we tried to put together with good intention just didn't cut the mustard. And so I'd say, please, absolutely explain in detail the flaws that the administrative law judge folks found in this rule. And they have to do, forget about arguing about the science, they have to do with simply a mechanism that would not properly apply with whatever science you had at this point. So I can't stress that enough. I mean, I think the governor's a very reasonable man, and it's incumbent to be boldly, brutally honest with where we're at. And 16 pages, but I'll tell you what, the chief judge was very explicit in the flaws. And so we need to fix them and simply slow down and back off here on poking at everybody out there until we get this right.
To those points, I would say that we all want, abundant wild rice. But quite frankly, I think that we have to go down a completely different path, which is kind of sad. Representative Metza.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and this has been an ongoing issue, and I do think that there are solutions where we can move forward. We know that there are some invasive cattail species that are stopping rice from thriving in certain bodies of water. We know that adjusting dam levels could have a great impact on rice flourishing throughout different parts of the state. And I've got to say, after reading this report now with the first ALJ decision and now the second one, it is extremely disappointing. And I question whether you can ever enforce this rule in any reasonable way based on, you know, some of the, they basically called it a moving target for the next decade. And I don't think that's an acceptable way for the state to be laying out a procedure for people to follow. It needs to be more black and white. Your agency failed from the 1970s through 2010 to do any enforcement. And that's on the agency for not addressing this sooner. And I would hope that we're looking at solutions that actually start to help rice now. Again, water levels with dams. We can do reseeding efforts with tribal governments, which has been done. When Representative Eklund and I met with the tribal governments earlier this year, they were disappointed and felt like you blew them off as an agency and were there just for lip service. And our communities are wondering what's going on with this. Hoyt Lakes, for example, would have a $50 a month minimum increase in their water bills to take out something we don't know whether it affects the actual rice or not in this case, based on the scientific evidence that we've had multiple groups look at and come to different conclusions on the level of which we're talking about the sulfate being in concentration in specific bodies of water. The Polymet project in specific, the Partridge River, flows at 25 milligrams per liter naturally. And my understanding is that they actually have to add different minerals and things back into their discharge water after reverse osmosis and make sure that we're not diluting the natural water to a point where the things that all the critters that are around there rely on to keep living themselves. And we've spent a lot of money on this, a lot of times, a lot of meetings, and I think we need to push for a reasonable solution. I've enjoyed working with Representative Becker-Finn this year on what we thought were some really good steps forward, giving the NRI some funding to continue researching sulfate. They've got a great test pilot project in my district where they have bacteria like you'd pour into a septic, and if it's charged to a specific electrical current, they eat the sulfate and the byproducts iron. We need to be investing in the technology to move this forward so that we're not relying on reverse osmosis, which is 70 years old. If our solid waste transfer stations end up with sulfide brine, which is the byproduct of what we're doing here, if they're outside of an area rich in iron, we're going to create the problem that you're trying to address by dumping it in Pine County or somewhere where we are going to have leaching into the groundwater and other issues. And I think this conversation has just been frustrating for every different side. And the agency's in noncompliance, which we discussed earlier this year on a multitude of issues in reporting Department of Administration. You are responsible to the public and to this committee and to the legislature to get the job done. You haven't been, and it's frustrating because we need people to be able to trust that our public employees are doing their due diligence. And I know every single person who works at your agency loves the work they do. They're public servants just like us sitting in these chairs today. And they should have the respect from everyone in here right now. And I think it's hard to get there. And we need, as a state and society, to be able to trust the public workers. who are doing their job and doing their due diligence, and you haven't given them the tools or resources to do that. And there's my rant on this issue, but we need to get our act together and find solutions that help families and people comply so they can have safe drinking water, so that rice can grow and our tribes can use it as their spiritual food, and make sure that as we're moving forward, we do it responsibly without just dragging this out, and find a conclusion that actually works to bringing us all together cohesively so that we can actually get something done versus just keep dragging our feet.
Thank you. And, since I've been here, I've heard from MPCA that the science is settled, the science is settled, the science is settled. And obviously, the ALJ strongly disagrees with that. Representative Hornstein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question on Section 56, which can be found at the top of page 53. And we had a brief discussion about this. I raised some concerns related to effluent limitations and compliance. And so we've added industrial facilities here, and just wanted the PCA to just outline maybe a couple of examples of the types of facilities that may be included in this section. I particularly have concerns about, the large energy facilities along the river. We have a nuclear plant, a coal plant that's going to be converted to natural gas. Would these facilities be included in this section? Modifications to those facilities?
Ms. Gauthier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Representative Hornstein, you're referring to industrial facilities?
Correct.
Correct. Yes. I don't have with me a list of the facilities that would fall under this, but we have consistently opposed the inclusion of industrial facilities here. So I would have to get back to you with the detailed list of, I'm not sure which facilities have their permits coming up when, their 5-year permits. But if a facility had a NPDE, a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System or State Disposal System permit, then they would, is my understanding, fall underneath this to the extent allowable under federal law.
Well, and Representative Hornstein, if I may, too, there's nothing in here that's exempting anybody from any regulatory standards. Okay? We're just granting the same regulatory certainty to a sugar beet plant or whatever as what the city of East Grand Forks would receive. But go ahead.
Thank you. But I think there's just different pollutants and different scale here. So I agree with you. I agree with the agency on this. I think it would be certainly helpful to me and maybe others and the public to know very specifically what types of facilities are included. So that could be provided to the committee, and certainly, as this bill advances, I think that would be very helpful to have.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we're happy to get that for you. Representative Hornstein.
Thank you.
Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, to follow up on some of the comments previously about the wild rice provisions, because I think actually when we heard the bill in this committee, we didn't have full testimony from the MPCA because of the timing of the lawsuit and everything. So just to clarify, you may have fully testified in some other committees, but I don't think we've actually had the full discussion with your input. So it's helpful to be able to do that now. I think that the problem isn't the science itself. The problem is that pollution is expensive. It isn't that, we have this good science. It's just the application would be really expensive because pollution is expensive. And, just so people are understanding that it's not like you've gone back and said, oh, this was bad science, we were wrong. It's that now that we know more about the way that sulfate affects different waters and different ecosystems and different soils and everything that entails, that it becomes more complicated. Pollution isn't simple, and protecting water isn't simple because water has all kinds of things that affect it. So I think it's really a yes and situation. There's all kinds of things that affect wild rice, whether it's water levels or the reseeding efforts and, different kinds, oil pollution, all kinds of things can potentially impact wild rice, but that doesn't mean we should not address sulfate too. I think it's a yes and situation, and I am happy that there has been more effort from folks to address some of those other things, but that doesn't mean that we should ignore the fact that we do know things about the way sulfate impacts wild rice. And so my question for you is, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about if this were to be implemented the way it is in the bill right now, what would some of the consequences be, or what would happen with our, whether we're meeting federal requirements and what's, with clean water, what would some of the consequences be at that other level outside of this legislature if these things became law?
Ms. Gothier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Becker-Finn. You're right, we were not able to testify fully in the Policy and Environment Finance Committees due to the timing of the process with the ALJ, and thank you for acknowledging that. So if this language were passed into law, I am not an attorney, but my understanding is that it prohibits the commissioner from using the new science that was done at the request of the legislature, which resulted in the need for a formula because of what we now understand, the new complexity about how sulfite impacts wild rice. So we couldn't use the new science, and it would prohibit the commissioner from enforcing the existing 10 milligrams. So it would leave us with no water quality standard on sulfate for protection of wild rice. So the Clean Water Act, as I understand it, does not allow states to overturn water quality standards that have been approved by the EPA unless the state replaces it with something that is as protective or more protective of, in this case, the wild rice. So that was how we were able to show with the science that we could be more protective with the new research. But anyway, that's all off the table under the bill, so the bill would leave us with no water quality standards. So no water quality standard is not more protective or as protective as the current 10. So that would have us in violation of federal law. And so that would expose the agency to liability and litigation anytime we tried to write a permit, because the permit would be in conflict with federal law. So that would be a major problem, especially for new or expanding facilities that might need something sooner, a permit sooner rather than later. So we think there would be a lot of litigation were this bill signed into law. Yeah, and I think does that answer your question? I don't know any of the other details. There's more details in the Clean Water Act, and I'm happy to have our lawyers give you a comprehensive list, but that's the biggest one.
Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think, I mean, you answered my question that the consequences of passing this language into law are more than just what happens to wild rice in Minnesota. I mean, it would have greater ramifications for the agency and your ability to do your job in protecting water. So thank you. I think that's helpful. Yeah, I guess I'll just, I mean, just to kind of reiterate, it kind of leaves the agency between a rock and a hard place, because it would keep you from, you can't go back to the old way because you've now shown through the science that the old 10 isn't the best way to do it. But then this would also stop you from using the new science to apply, any new standard. And so there's nothing to enforce, because you can't just come up with some magic number that isn't based in science either. So it just, it leaves the agency in a difficult position, I think.
To that point, I would say, Representative Becker-Finn, that, in terms of the agency protecting wild rice, they've not done that, okay? They don't write the standard into permits, except one that I know of. It's never been written into a permit, and it's not being enforced. So the agency is not protecting wild rice. So I see you have a comment, and then we'll go to Representative Lewick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to Representative Becker-Finn, thank you for that comment. And I think the important thing here, too, is that because our science was published in international journals and then acclaimed by international ecological and so forth societies, so the science is out there. And if we can't use it, that doesn't mean that others can't. I mean, they can. So the fact that the science is out there in the public realm and that we would not be able to enforce anything would leave the door open for third parties to take the science and go to court.
Thank you. Representative Lewick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And amazingly enough, I fully agree with the agency and the administrative law judge folks that this is likely going to end up in litigation at some point in time. And I'll just pick a little piece off page 9 and 10. And this came from the last go-around from the chief judge over there in the administrative law world. In essence, the proposed standard becomes not a measuring stick, but a slide rule. It's difficult to conclude that such a process could ever, given a person of ordinary intelligence, a reasonable opportunity to know what is prohibited or provide sufficient standards for enforcement. Failing to do so, the proposed rule cannot stand legal scrutiny. So, I mean, we got everybody that agrees that we got a problem here, and obviously this is somebody that's got a license to practice law, which I don't. Others do. It's very clear. I mean, give a person of ordinary intelligence a reasonable opportunity to know what is prohibited or provide sufficient standards for enforcement. We're just, so there's no disagreement here amongst anybody that we got a problem here, and this goes right back to more about the mechanism of how we would deal this, and we just continue to get wrapped around the axle on this numeric standard when we ignore water levels, we ignore invasive species, as Representative Metsa has indicated. We literally stopped the clock on that about a decade ago when we went down this road. And in the meantime, I know the Native American community in my area has made great progress because they took it upon themselves where they could at the local level to adjust water levels where it was appropriate to look at those kind of things. So it's like, and I don't want to let the DNR off on this either because they basically had the opportunity to just back up and watch the process that was going on in the MPCA trying to come up with this numerical standard. I mean, just be honest about it. We've left wild rice hanging for over a decade here while we've tried to do something with this numeric standard. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a number of places in this 16 pages that the administrative law judge folks also indicate that, yep, every time you do something, you're always liable to go into court and be brought into court and sued. And so, frankly, what's new? We need to go back and get back focused on those basic things that really aren't predominantly an MPCA issue. They're frankly an area where the DNR needs to pull the suspenders up, and that's what the very last section of this just simply turns the clock back and plugs in 10 years ago and says, let's get busy and go back down the road of things we know that we can do to make a huge difference, I think, in protecting wild rice. So anyway, all up Metsa for Representative Metsa for a little frustration.
Representative Metsa.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I think...
Members, we will be continuing discussion on the bill tomorrow, okay? If you need time with your amendments and so forth, stay in touch with the committee administrator, Ms. Zipko. And we will continue walking through the bill tomorrow, and then we will do our amendments after that. And then if we need to, we'll come back here tomorrow evening. Representative Metza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Becker-Finn, for the clarifying questions. The agency is between a rock and a hard place, but what's baffling to me is we've got a lot of science out there where I think we could come to a conclusion in terms of what is a reasonable standard that protects rice and also balances the cost of dealing with pollution. And I think that the problem for me is when I hear words like acclaimed, to me, I want to hear words like our science can be replicated and that it can be proven. And I know we've had that discussion earlier this year in committee. And those are the things I'm looking for, something we can go back and say with certainty to people, this works, it's right, it's science-based, and we're not there yet. And so I hope we can get there.
Okay. All right, members. Anything else at this time for the benefit of the group? Anybody else? Looking around the room.
Anybody from the public?
Representative Wagenius.
Yes, I was on the list, so if
Yes,
you're-
I know that, but we'll continue tomorrow.
Well, I'd like to be on the list tomorrow.
Yep, we got you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Just
Any
Mr.
public? Okay, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.